Hey everybody, today's release day for version 2 of NFL 2K24. I know there's been a lot of work that went into this one, kind of waiting for the week 1 rosters. Madden ratings are usually a little bit behind, like even though now we're going into week 4 of the NFL, I think week 2 is available on their site, I don't know, so they're a little behind. But in any case, this update is going to include week 1 rosters. Big thank you to Bad L for helping me out. I ran into a little bit of a speed bump with that, and he also created the schedule for this year's franchise file, so really awesome. Glad to be able to collaborate with him. So this update is going to include a host of new things. You'll be able to go over to nfl2kmod.com. This will be updated. It'll take you to the download page. The GitHub repo is really where you're going to go to download everything. Once the links are finished and everything's up, you'll see version 2. There's going to be an AVX2 available, which is going to support all your newer hardware, your newer CPUs. And then if you're running crappy old legacy CPUs that don't support AVX2, pun intended, you can use the SSE4 build. And then for Xbox, you'll use the console package, and that'll work also for anyone that wants to do anything with mobile, like Android. You would have all the contents here. So this is a real go to get everything. The rosters for week 1 will be independent as well, so if you already have it set up and you don't want to do the update, you can grab from here too. But with this, the installer, each standalone installer, once you extract it, you'll have these files, setup.exe, and then these bin files. You're just going to run the setup.exe. The README in here is going to give you a little bit of information about version 2 changelog, so you can go through and see everything. I did the guide again, so if you open this up, you'll see there'll be some information in here to kind of help you along. What's new? This is just another overview of all the changes that are in here. Take you through the install and everything, so it'll help you out. A good reference guide to have. So for existing installs, you would just extract your package. You're going to run setup.exe, and you're going to accept this. Say next. Say next here. If you already have it installed, you don't need to create these. Just say next here. Install. We'll let this finish out. Alright, so once this is done, you have an existing install, you can just go ahead and launch it. It'll fire up for you. Well, I don't know why that one didn't work for me here. Let me, I shouldn't have said launch. Let me launch this here. We'll have this. You'll have an updated cover in here. This is the new cover for version 2. I put Jordan Love, Green Bay fan. Sorry guys, you can do your own covers if you want to. A lot of people do a lot of cool stuff in the community, so I'm sure there'll be some new stuff. But when you come in here, everything should be existing, should be the same. You can just launch the game, jump right in, start playing, and then of course you want to launch your GME tool and then load whatever you want. When this reloads, you're gonna, anything that you had loaded will not be loaded anymore, because what I'm doing is I'm replacing the covers folder, the mods folder, and the textures folder. Everything else remains the same, so it won't touch your settings if you have specific configuration or anything like that, but you'll have to reload things. And something to call out and make sure that you're aware of is that player tattoos, Cujo Manny's awesome player tattoos, is no longer going to be just baked into the mod. You're going to have to enable it. And I moved this out into a GME purposefully because when people play with older roster files, sometimes the skins are set to the same skins that we're using for the tattoo textures, so it kind of makes things weird. So if you want to enable them, go ahead and enable them. So when you get into the flow of playing with the update, you'll have certain mods that you're just going to have enabled all the time, and then you'll go from there. I just want to call out too the Giants. Let's see the stadiums. So the center field logos for the Giants and Jets is fixed now. I made a mistake with the hash name, so that's corrected for those teams. Reminder that the 49ers new Levi Stadium that I refreshed is going to be brown, so if you're going to play home with the 49ers, you're going to have to manually set that to the brown stadium. Same thing for the Chargers. It's no longer baked into the roster file. You'll have to load that if the Chargers play at home to get that field, and that'll be the Edward Jones Stadium. So just keep those in mind, and a few other things which you're probably already aware of. But let's close out here. So that's it for the upgrade. Now if you're going to do a fresh install, let's jump into the fresh install. Alright, so if you're a first time install, fresh setup, this same workflow can be done on your Asus ROG as well, because it's Windows based. So first time setup, you're just going to run the same installer after you extract it. You're going to accept the agreement. Reminder that you have to have your own PS2 BIOS and NFL Game Disk ISO. We're not providing them or showing you where to do that. There's a good article on PCSX2 website which will help you. You can use ImageBurn for your own disk if you want to do that, but they give you some guidance over there, so I would recommend going there and checking that out if you need help with that. So install directory, you're just going to put this wherever you want. I like to put it on my main disk, so it's going to go there. Next. I want to create desktop shortcuts next, and just summary, we'll install. We'll give this a few minutes, let it finish. Once it's done, we should have 2 new icons on the desktop. One for the emulator for NFL 2K24 edition, and then the other one for the GME utility. So we'll give this a minute to finish. All right, cool, so we're done. I'm not gonna launch it. We'll finish up there. So now we have what we need. If you need to reference the guide, just use the reference guide. There's a lot of good information in there for you. And I'm gonna move these over here so I can see them a little better. So first thing I wanna do is I wanna launch the GME utility to at least run it once, so it'll set the file path in the INI. And then if it's not already, I would recommend right-clicking the shortcut for the emulator, go to Properties, go to Compatibility, and do Change Setting for all users, and ensure Run this program as administrator is enabled. Click Apply, click OK, say OK. This way, every time you launch it, it's going to run in Elevated. And that might eliminate some of the issues people have with not being able to read things and do different stuff. So just do that. It'll help out. So next, we'll fire up the emulator. And actually, let me go ahead and close that. I want to right click and go to open the file location. So you're going to need to include your own BIOS here, right? So, and then your game disk ISOs will probably be empty as well, except for the ULEs. This is where you're going to put your game disk ISO. And then something too, I'm including this underscore files directory. So in here is utility. So if you don't have MyMC or any of the editors, even the draft class tool, it's all in here for you. Extract it, set it up, and you'll be ready to rock and roll. The roster folder is going to include, it obviously includes a handful of stuff that was there last time, but the week 1 rosters for this year are in here, so they're both here if you need to load them. And this is really more for people who have an existing installation and you run the install. You'll have to manually load them using MyMC, but they're going to be here for you along with those other files. So you're going to need to bring in your ISO and your BIOS. I already have mine here. I'm just going to move my stuff in. Now I'm going to launch the emulator and we'll get started here. So add a game directory. So now go ahead and click on that and it'll take you to the installation directory. ISO is where I keep my stuff. So I'm going to select that folder and say yes. So it scan it. There's the there's the ISO for it and the ULE. And next we'll go back to settings, graphics, and just set this to whatever your hardware is. Good there. No other changes with that. You can take a peek at the memory cards. You'll see that they're already assigned. And then here we're going to want to set up the 40 gig VHD, so we'll browse and then it'll take us to the same directory. If not, go to the installation directory, find the VHDD, go into here, select it, click save. Make sure that it says install directory VHDD, this is the critical piece, and then default name. We'll create that image right now. So it's finished, we'll say okay, and then I believe we are good here. I'm going to say close. Now you're going to want to fast boot the ULE. Always fast boot. Otherwise it doesn't work right. So once you're in here, just file browser and then go down to miscellaneous, do HDD manager, and this will take us in here and then we should see nothing. Just R1 on the controller, go down to format and okay. And once this is done, you can just shut down because it's already formatted the disk, or you can back out. There's really no value in it, just shut down. So that's it for that piece. And then we would just load our game, set whatever mods we wanted enabled, load the game, jump into it. I'll show you the rosters here in just a minute. I prefer Xbox buttons, and I want my player tattoos and my portraits for the roster. So these are common ones, and if there's common mods that you're going to be using all the time, I would load them first so they're at the top, so you don't have them buried down at the bottom when you have a bunch of mods enabled, because it'll make it just a little bit of a pain in the butt. So let me close that, let me launch this up. Get started, and we'll take a look at the roster files real quick. So while this is doing its thing and loading, again, big thank you to everyone in the community. All the feedback is appreciated. The continued support is awesome, even knowing that Madden 24 is actually kind of better than it was before. And the mod community is able to mod, so that's a huge thing. But thanks to Cess Kid, thanks to Boss Thugga, a bunch of other people, Cujo Matty, Rate Sports as always for the comical entertainment value here and there, and really the big support that they help with the community and everything is just awesome. Bad Al, thank you so much for the tool, for the updates, for helping, being willing to help, and it's just really it's really cool. So let's get into this. By now you think I'd have a preset set for that, but in any case, we'll go to load, say yes. And then this is the VHD. Here you can actually put saves on this if you want to. Just be careful, because if it becomes corrupt and you don't export that stuff with MyMC, it's kind of gone forever. But it is cool because you have all that storage. Let's go over here. So the first card in here, Ross 1. So here we go. So these are the new rosters. So the NFL 24, F is for franchise, W is for week, and then 1. That's your franchise file. And then here, the R is for roster, and then week 1 is for your exhibition stuff. These are the new rosters here. So if we load this up, we'll have all the new players. You go right in here, open file location, go into your install directory, go to files, go to roster, NFL 24 week 1, open up the franchise file. Let's open this up in Fins. And always say no to this. Okay, so now you'll see your teams here. So just right click here and say, oh, what team do I want to be this year, right? I'm kind of liking the Colts, I'm not going to lie. Anthony Richardson looks like he's going to be a really good player for a long time. He gives me Warren Moon vibes for some reason. I don't know, it just seems like a good dude. And he's on my fantasy team, so hopefully he's back this week. But you pick the team that you want to play with. You right click on here and select control this team only, and it'll prompt you, just say yes. Now if you were to look at any other teams, they're all going to be CPU. You can save this file here, which is in your directory here, then open up my MC utility, open up your slot 1 card, and you're going to need to delete it first. So let me see, that was my franchise, so let me go here and delete. And then let me copy this file location just by copying the address path here. I'm going to go to import, I'm going to paste, and I'm going to pick that. It's going to import it for me. I'm going to close out of there, close out of here, and I can come back into the game. I have to relaunch, but when I go back into it and I load that franchise file, the Colts are going to be my team for the season. So that's the way to do that. I know that comes up a little bit too. I don't know if there's other questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. Just drop something into the into the Discord, and whoever can will try to help you out as best we can. But I hope everyone enjoys the update. A lot of stuff went into it. You'll see some things like Stadium in 2022 still, so I corrected that and some other stuff. And again, thanks for the support. I hope everyone's having a good time this football season. Hope your team's doing good, and enjoy the update, and we'll catch you sometime soon. See you guys.